Hello, I am Kerry George with CIBN TV on YouTube, and you can find our website at thecibn.com. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to increase business revenue by making sales. And you're going to want to stay tuned because we're going to be talking about how this can impact your business by 6, 7, or 8 figures a year. So you're not going to want to miss out on what I've got to share on how to improve your sales process and how to get some of those sales coming into your business you badly need. So stay with us. Hello, everyone. I'm Kerry George with CIBN TV on YouTube. And again, you can find us at thecibn.com. I am here today to talk about selling, making sales, improving sales in your processes, and why this is so important in your business, whether you are a solopreneur, whether you're in network marketing, whether you have a storefront business or 6 locations, it doesn't matter. Selling and making sales is incredibly important to increasing your bottom line. So how do we do it? Well, let's talk about this whole subject of sales as we get started, first of all, because I'm sure somebody's going to watch this video and they're going to say, oh, Kerry, I hate selling. I don't want to be a salesperson. I'm an introvert. I don't like people. I hear all of these things all of the time. I wish I had an easy answer for you. But honestly, you have to get over it. Your whole life is about selling, whether you believe it is or not. We're all making sales every day in ways that we never even realized. I mean, if I have a 10-year-old and I'm trying to convince him to brush his teeth, you know what? I am doing a sales job as I use the art of persuasion to convince my 10-year-old that it's important to brush his teeth before he goes to bed, right? We're using these sales techniques every day in our life in all kinds of ways, and we don't even realize it. And there's nothing sneaky or shady about it, okay? It's how we navigate life. So to be better at the art of persuasion is just better. It's better for us. It means we're better communicators as well, and that other people will enjoy interactions with us the more that we work on our sales skills. Selling is not something that's dirty. It's not something that's gross. You know what? It's the oldest profession. Some people think it's something else, but they were just selling that thing. Okay. It's all about sales. Okay. Life is about sales. And you know what? It is an honorable thing to be a salesperson. Did you hear what I said? It's honorable. Did you know that the GDP of every nation in the world has been created really by the sales that take place within the nation of all kinds of products and services, right? So when we are salespeople and we realize that, and we realize the position of honor that it has in our life, in our family's life, in our community's life, and in our nation's life, when we can embrace that, it frees us. Okay, this is not something shady. Yes, there are used car salesmen out there who act horribly, okay, and people who act like that. That doesn't mean that we have to be one of them people. We don't have to do that. We can actually just learn to be better communicators. And I like personally relationship selling. I've been doing that for years. And I'm going to talk about some of the techniques of that. I'm also going to talk about today some of the methods to use this in our networking process, because many people have been going out networking and not making sales. And then they think the problem is the networking. Not necessarily. It might have a lot to do with the fact that we're having a hard time closing sales or asking for the sale or leading in the process towards making a sale. All right, but before I get to that, I want to talk to you about why I started to do this, okay? Why I started to talk about selling in the last year. So if you don't know me, my name is Kerry George. I run CIBN Connect. I am actually the founder of the organization. It's a global network that brings business owners together. And I've been doing it for more than a decade. So I'm in front of thousands of businesses a year, which means I'm in a unique position to know what are the challenges and struggles of the average business person. In fact, I'm in a very unique position. If you could think of the very most experienced business coach that you could think of and multiply it by 1,000, that's how many businesses I see every year. And that's how many people I'm in front of. It takes a lot to surprise me because I've seen it all and been doing it for many, many years. So here's this challenge that I see that business owners have had after having all that experience. They lack two things. Really, they're continuously talking about their lack of time and their lack of money. And when they start to make money, then they run out of time, and back and forth. Okay. And I see this universally, whether it is a small business owner, a network marketer, somebody who's in direct sales, all the way up to someone who has multiple locations. You think they have slayed their sales dragon. Not necessarily. They may have done that personally, but I have a hard time transferring the knowledge to others. Or they may have other people that are now running their sales teams for them. And so it's kind of removed from them, but they still need to perfect the processes. They still need to make it even better. So these are some of the things that I'm going to talk about here right now is how do we improve these processes, for everybody, whether you are just trying to make a $50 sale or whether you are working with people in a consultation type of way where you've got clients that pay you $1,000 a month or $25,000 a year or more. Okay. It's really the same process, whether it's a small sale or a large sale. So I want to break this down for you today. I got on this bandwagon, I have to tell you, this the last couple of years, because I noticed that we had many people coming out to our business networking meetings. And sometimes they would say, I'm not getting any leads here and I'm not making any business happen. And therefore, I don't like your networking group and I don't like networking and I don't think networking works for me. And sometimes it would be a little confusing to me because I had given them a lead myself. And I always found that a little bit weird. Okay, I gave you a lead. In fact, I remember an accountant one time telling me that he got no business ever from my company. And I was like, what? Didn't I actually give you my very best friend in life only a few months ago? Didn't I wrote, this was when we were doing in-person networking, I wrote the lead down on a slip of paper and I gave it to him. And I realized that he didn't call her. He actually didn't follow through in the sales process. He didn't even know that that was what he was supposed to do. To me, that was remarkable. Why wouldn't you know? Someone gave you a warmed up lead. Like I had told her that he was going to call. And then so I had called her afterwards and said, did he ever call you? No, he didn't. So then I confronted him and said, well, why didn't you call her? Well, I thought you'd make it happen. Well, today in our networking, we actually do often make it happen. I CC two people together into the same email and make them connect. And that's because of experiences like that, where I've realized that not every business owner knows how. They don't know what to do for the next step. And if you don't know how to sell, or you don't even know how to set up the appointment, I could give you 20 leads, 100 leads, 1,000 leads. You can spend money on lead generation day and night. You're going to make nothing if you don't know how to sell. Okay, because the sales process is incredibly important to making the sale. And I'm seeing this so much in the last few years where people are jumping onto different fads of how I can get more leads. I can do this lead generation thing and I'll do summits and I'll take this course and I'll do this and I'll do that. If you still suck at selling, what's the point? Hello? You need to make sales in order to increase revenue. And it doesn't matter what business that you have, somehow revenue is generated usually through sales. So this being able to sell is really, really important. And I'm finding that people are not connecting the dots. So we've created a system for it. And last summer, I actually brought together a small group of women, 8 women, who I knew were really sucking at selling because I was hearing what they were saying in the network. And I said, be part of this test group we're going to run. And we're going to start to meet weekly. And I'm going to run you through some sales training. And you're going to come back every week. And we're going to talk about what we've done in our business, and we're going to perfect these scripts. And that's when it became apparent to me that business owners aren't using scripts. From their response, they were like, script? I don't want to script this. I just want to go naturally. Okay, let's clear this up right now, shall we? Going naturally means that you're winging it. That's what that means. Winging it. Okay? Winging it is for KFC. It's for beer and wings night at the bar. It is not a sales process. Okay? Professional salespeople know exactly what they are going to say, and they know exactly in what order they're going to say it. Okay? Now, years ago, like 100 years ago, right after I got off the ark, I actually sold for Rule Book Encyclopedia. And in those days when salespeople went door to door selling encyclopedias, remember those days? For some of us that are very old, we remember this. They actually gave us a really pretty book that we opened with the customer, and we read everything off the pages. And why did we do that? Because it worked. Okay, it was a script. Anybody and everybody could follow it if they just turned the pages. And it was way back then that I learned that scripts actually work for selling. So what exactly should you script? Well, for one thing, you should script your infomercial, and then you should script the one-on-one appointment that you have. And then you should script the sales process, the sales presentation, which, by the way, never should happen on a one-on-one. And if you're trying to sell during your one-on-one, that would be your first problem. Okay? Stop that. People are just getting to know you. So I'm going to explain what you do in each one of these things as I go through. I'm also going to talk about scripting your follow-up. And I'm going to talk about some other cool stuff that you can be scripted that you never even thought of, and how this will improve your sales process, because now you'll be able to actually collect data. Okay? You can't get better if you don't collect data. And when you're winging it, you never get data, because you don't even know what you did right or wrong. When you actually got a sale, it was an accident. You just literally threw stuff up on the wall and hoped for something to stick. And when something did, you're like, oh, yay, I got one. But do you know how to repeat the process? No, because if you're winging it, you don't even remember what you did. You don't remember what you said. So we want to get away from winging it and actually create a real sales process. And it doesn't matter who you are and what you sell. You need a sales process. So I see that I have following with us today, Darlene Petrie. I'm so glad that you're here, Darlene, following along. Darlene was in our test case, okay? And she has become one of the most successful salespeople in CIBN today, because she was in that test group last summer of our Max Plus program, where we learned how to do a proper sales pitch and actually create a sales process. And you can see she said, all the way from I hate to selling to yay, I'm making sales. That's right. When Darlene joined us, she actually was not making any sales at all. But within 30, 40 days, she started to make her first sales. And that was I think we started in the late summer. And then we went all the way, excuse me. We went all the way to today. And in December, the first week of December, I remember that Darlene made 6 sales in that time. Isn't that amazing? So, you know what? It's been amazing watching people transform, because Darlene is not like Tony Robbins. She is an introvert. And she's a grandma. Okay? So when we can take introverts and grandmas and we can turn them into sales superstars, I think we can help you too. Amazingly, yes, absolutely we can. All right, so how do we do this? How do we script the sales process? Well, let's start with the basic infomercial. Most people that go out and do anything where they're promoting themselves, whether it's going to networking meetings or introducing themselves to people through LinkedIn or whatever it is they're doing, they have this thing that they say when they meet people. hi, my name is, and then they name their company, and this is what I do, and blah, 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 blah. And you should use me because. All right. Well, that sucks. It's gross. Everyone does it. No one's listening. So we have over 5 methods that we use at CIBN to help our business owners learn how to do an infomercial. And they're not, we don't set them up to be witty and wordsmithed. And we don't actually set them up to be using props. I've seen some crazy things in the last couple of years. People doing all kinds of stuff, trying to grab attention in the infomercial. That isn't what's important. What's important in the infomercial is that it converts to a one-on-one. Hello? Isn't that what you're doing? You're trying to get somebody to book an appointment with you. And then when you get that appointment, you should have next steps ready. But that is the whole function of the infomercial, is to get people to book time with you, or you're going to ask them to do one thing only. Most people don't even know that. They list off 3, 4, 5 things that they do. Well, you lost me on the second one. The 5th one clearly doesn't matter. Okay. As soon as you ask for 2 things in your infomercial, you're going to get 0, nothing, nada, ever. Okay. So you got to stop asking for all of those things. And I have another wonderful thing I hear, and I'm being, it's not wonderful. Okay. I hear people who have more than one business saying, I do this and this and this, and I do that and that and that. Well, that just makes you sound like you're just scattered and that you don't have a plan and there's no focus. So for your infomercial, pick one of those businesses. What do you want people to do when they hear about that business? Pick one business and only talk about one product it has or one service, and ask them to do one thing. Okay? So let's say, for example, I'm with a company that has multiple products, and I would love people to use all of my products, but I only have 60 seconds and I cannot tell them everything in 60 seconds. So I'm just going to say, hi, my name is Kerry George. No, actually, I wouldn't even say that. What I would do is actually say, hey, do you have a need for this and this and this? Is this something that would actually solve your problem? If you have questions about this, please book time with me now. Here's my calendar link. And if I were in an online networking meeting, that's what I would do. Or I would say, who knows somebody that needs this? And if you know someone who needs this, put yes into the chat right now so that I can, and I can identify who would actually know those people. And that was the one thing I asked them, put yes in the chat right now. If I were doing this at an in-person meeting, again, I would ask for the appointment. Who wants to book appointment with me right now? Raise your hand. And then I could see 3 hands go up, 1, 2, 3. And those are the people I'm going to make a beeline for at the end of the meeting. Now I have 3 appointments that will be booked from that meeting, even if I was stuck sitting in a chair and couldn't move during the entire time because it was a lunch meeting. You see what I'm doing here? I'm identifying exactly who has interest in the thing that I have, and most importantly, booking that meeting from the meeting that I'm in. I know your mind is going, what? Yeah, book the meeting from the meeting. If you belong to an online networking group that does not allow you to book meetings during the meeting or to talk business during your business meeting, I would advise you to quit right now and join CIBN Connect, because we let you actually talk about your business, because that's what business networking is for. I don't know what you're doing in an organization that won't let you talk about business during a business meeting. That is crazy. Okay. Also, if you're belonging to an in-person meeting, okay, that pins you to a chair and doesn't let you talk, but you don't even have time to talk to the person on the left or the right. Again, paying lots of fees, volunteering your time, taking time to get there, and you get to talk to 2 people during that meeting, you need other options. That is not what networking is supposed to be. Okay? Reach out to us at CIBN Connect. If you're looking for in-person meetings, we'll help you launch one in your community where it can be done properly, where you can actually network and make an appointment while you're in the meeting. So important. Okay, moving along from that because we want to stay focused on selling. So here we are talking about networking and the pitch, and they're pitched right there. It just needs to be crafted and scripted, and you need to stick to it every time. Why is that important? Because we're wavering around and we're doing the little winging it thing, and we're not collecting great data, and we don't even know it works. So we try a little of this and we try a little of that. No. One ask, one product. What do you want them to do? Stick to it. Write that out. Practice it. Say it over and over and over again until it becomes natural. And then do it 100 times before you make an assessment. What? Yeah. Guys, data is based off of numbers, not off of feelings. Did you hear what I said? So many business owners are like, oh, that just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel natural to me. Why are we running a business based off of feelings? Business is business, okay? You run it based off of data. Now, of course, you're not going to say something that makes you feel completely like it's not true or something like that, right? You want everything that you say to be authentic, but based off of feelings, you're never going to grow a business properly. You need data. So craft it the way that it is most likely to attract a customer, and then say it over and over and over, and track the progress of it. How many appointments did it get booked? And did you ask for the appointment? Okay, you can't actually assess that if you're not asking for the appointment and pursuing it as the meeting is progressing or as soon as the meeting is over. Okay, you need to get those meetings booked in order to know if it actually worked. Now, what's the next step? You get the meeting booked. I'm going to tell you another error that I see in the ways of most business owners. Okay. We get a one-on-one and we're like, yahoo, we got a one-on-one. All right, I'm going to go sell my stuff. Wrong. The one-on-one is not for selling. What? Well, why am I doing it? Well, it's for sorting. The one-on-one is for sorting. It's a sorting meeting, okay? When you get together with somebody on a one-on-one, you don't even know them and they don't know you. So why would they buy from you? If your product is more than $50, chances of selling that on the one-on-one are pretty slim, okay? Because people need to get to know you, like you, and trust you. Now, if somebody meets me on the first time on a one-on-one, they might decide that they like me. Hopefully, I'm happy. People say I have great energy. All right, so maybe they like me. But do they trust me on that first appointment? Do they know me? Of course not. It's one appointment. To ask them for a $1,000 sale or a $2,000 sale is ludicrous. Okay, they don't know me. Why would they make a purchase of that size? And here's another great question. Why would I pitch them in the last 5 minutes of meeting together a $2,000 offer? Doesn't that actually require like a 20, 30, 40, 60-minute presentation to get people to purchase that? Isn't there a lot of things that you should cover to make somebody, feel the value in an offer that's larger like that? So why would you try to tack that on in a 15 to 30-minute one-on-one? That's a recipe for failure right there. So what do you do during the one-on-one? You sort. Okay? You ask questions. You make it about them and you ask a lot of questions. And as you ask the questions, you discover if this person is, number one, a potential client for me. Number two, could they be someone who gives me a few referrals? Or number three, could they be somebody who has the same target market that I have? And could they be a long-term collaborating partner that would give me 3 to 5 referrals a month from their list of buyers? Things that make you think. Well, you know what? If you set up your script for the one-on-one, to ask the questions that would bring you those answers, you will be amazed at how many sales networking can bring to you. Because as you ask the questions, you're going to put them into one of three silos. Asking the questions, going along and finding out that yes, they actually are your candidate. They could be your customer. So if that is turning out to be that they could be your customer, you continue to ask questions like, what would their budget be like? Just make sure that they could afford the services that you have. And if they answered you in a positive way as you went along in this process, that they do have the budget and they are of interest, like they're interested in your product, and they actually could look like a purchaser, what you'd want to do at the end of that meeting in your scripting, you would want to say something like, well, thank you for meeting with me today. I can see that I have many solutions for some of the challenges that you have listed here. I'd love to get together with you and discuss a customized way that I can assist you in that. Would Thursday at 3 o'clock work for you, or would Friday morning at 10 be better? And you're going to book the appointment right there while you're in the appointment, leading to the next appointment, which would be the sales presentation. And you didn't spring it on them. You've drawn them into agreement that they would like to come to hear more about the solutions that you would offer. And when it's presented that way, like 99% of the time, people are going to go, yeah, Thursday works, or they're going to say, oh, I think I need to do it next week. What do you got to open next week? You see? And it's scripted to lead right into that in a very natural way. But sometimes as you're talking to somebody, you're finding out that, wow, they're really not your candidate. They're not the or they're not going to buy from you the stuff that you were going to sell, right? And some people just go, well, nice knowing you, gotta go. That doesn't mean they don't have referrals for you. Who do they know that might actually use your service? So you should have some well-scripted questions that would lead to them giving you the referral on the spot, if that is the case. But you may also have identified as you're asking these questions that they have many people that could be referrals to you, because their ideal candidate, their ideal client is actually the same as yours. They have the same target market. You sell to 55-year-old women, so do they. Okay? Or whatever it is that that is your target. So if that is the case, that goes into another silo. And what you want to do with that is you want to actually set up another meeting to get to know them more. In fact, you're going to want to do 2, 3, 4 appointments. We call this the collaboration strategy at CIBN Connect. We actually train our members on how to do this, because if you have let's say you have 5 people who give you 3 to 5 warmed up leads a month. Why don't you do math on that? See, if you sell something say I'm a coach and I sell services for $1,000 a month, okay? And I have 5 collaborating partners who have people in their circle, okay, that they are actually selling to, and they sell products to them that are $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. That means that their clients are buyers. They sell something different than me, but exactly to my target market. Therefore, they would be an excellent collaborating partner. And if I had 5 of them giving me 3 to 5 leads a month, I would never need another lead generator probably in the history of my business. Only 13 clients is $150,000 a year. So that's pretty cool. And these are some of the strategies that we teach our members. And that actually brings me to, I see Darlene had posted this here and I put it up here. She actually said this several minutes ago, 150K, here I come. And she's confident in that because we have actually taught her the strategies on how to do it and walked her through step-by-step processes. She's scripted it out and she knows that she can do it now because she's had some wins. She's actually had some stuff happen that she was able to see that this works. Okay. So, and she's learned all of this, by the way, in the Max Plus program. You'll note that under the video, I actually put a link for the Max Plus program. You'd think it'd be worth $10,000. It is worth $10,000 or more, but that isn't what we're charging for it, thankfully. And this is just one of the pieces that we offer at CIBN Connect that actually helps business owners bring in $150,000 a year. In fact, if you're watching this video, it is the 5th one in a series. Each one of those videos talks about another path to $150,000. Most of these things can be implemented by any business owner, entrepreneur, or professional in any vocation. What? So far, all of them are usable by everyone. As we get through the series, I think that 8 and 9 are more applicable to coaches and those who have membership-based businesses. But everything else in the series, anyone could apply. And any one of those strategies, when properly implemented, would bring in $150,000 a year. And if you can't figure it out from the video, join the network, okay? There is a link to join the sales program right there underneath the video. It's called the Max Plus program, and it's called Sales Pitch. It meets every week. Now, why we meet every week is because we're not only going through like how to script it, we're letting you practice your script on each other. We are setting you up with accountability partners so that you can, go through the process with somebody and test it out. You can get feedback. You come back every week and you tell us how it went and what worked. I've been hearing some great stories lately. If you're watching this video, earlier we did one called Repackage. Well, one of the stories I heard this week is one of our coaches in the network told us how she hadn't made a sale in a couple of years. And not only was she able to make a sale because of what she was learning in the Max Plus program, she also landed the sale for $1,000 a month on an ongoing program instead of how she had been trained to do it was to have 3-month programs, which I highly discourage because you're just continually selling and not delivering. So she used our method and she used the sales training and she landed her first client for $1,000 a month ongoing. Yay! That's so exciting. That means it's working. Oh my gosh. That's so awesome. All right, let's continue on because there's more. There's more. In the sales process, there's not just what do we say when we are in the sales, in that one-on-one, but we want to lead to the sales presentation. Now, what do you do when you get to the sales presentation? You script it, just like World Book taught me to do many, many years ago. Script it. Okay. Now, what do I mean by script? Do I mean that every word has to be written out? Not necessarily. Some of you might like that. Some of you might feel more confident if you did that. Some of you might like to use a presentation where you actually created a presentation and you went through something in your sales presentation. Like maybe you have screens and pictures and stuff that leads you through to the person making the buying decision. If that helps you, then use it. Sure. But that isn't necessarily, it might be just a list. It might be a list of points or questions that lead to that buying decision. But whatever it is, you don't want to be winging it. You want to have a real process where you're going through what to do. I have consultation clients that I work with as well. I only take a handful of them every year because I don't have time because I'm running the empire and I'm very expensive. Not just everybody can use that. But I have some really great tools and I share them. I share them sometimes in the Max Plus program. And I share them with my consultation clients. I have a script that I use when I'm working with someone to get a new consultation client. And I have found that script works very well for many other people in other industries. So sometimes I share it with them. So that's something that if you are part of CIBN, you can ask me for that. I'd be happy to share that with you. And people take that script and they modify it for theirs, right? Which is important because your script is going to be different than my script, but there may be some similarities. You might be able to take the format, the template, and actually, go through in the list of it And it's more about getting them in the right order. So in the sales pitch program with Max Plus every week, that's sometimes what we talk about is what is the order of your questions? Let's talk about how one should lead progressively into the other. How do we identify early in the conversation that the person has the budget to purchase whatever it is that I'm selling? That's all part of the sales process, right? Those questions should be answered early in the conversation. It shouldn't just spring it on somebody at the end of the conversation. Oh, by the way, my consultation is, $25,000. Ah, I don't have $25,000. Okay? There shouldn't be surprises like that. It should just be leading naturally through, and you're discovering if they have the budget or if they don't have the budget. All right, I'm going to give you a little sales tip here. This is for fun because this is about sales, and this is one of my favorites. Let's say I did share with you that my consultation was $25,000, and you said, oh, that's too much money. Do you ever have anyone say that's too much? Even if you sell a $100 product, sometimes people say, oh, that's too much. So how do you respond to that question? I'm going to teach you right now how to respond to that question. This is fun. All right, this is how we say this. We say, how much too much is it? Just like that. Don't change the wording order, okay? Don't, because it means something else if you actually say it any other way. You say, how much too much is it? Remember that he who asks the questions is in charge of the interview, so it's always great to answer with a question for right off the bat. But that question actually makes them stop and go, well, and they generally will come out with an answer. They'll say, oh, well, I really only have $8,000 that I could spend right now. Okay. Could you do $25,000 over 3 months? Yeah, that would be what, 7,000? Yes, I could. Now you just got your $25,000 sale. Hello? But if you just went, oh, they said it's too much. Well, that means I should drop down to my $75 a month program. You missed a whole bunch between the big one all the way down to $75 a month. You don't even know what you're doing at that point. Why not ask straight out and just say, how much too much is it? And maybe they do come back and say, oh, I couldn't afford more than $1,000 right now or $50 right now. Well, at least you know what you're dealing with, right? You know where to go next. But if you don't ask that question, you're really shooting in the dark. You have no business making any other offer until you know exactly what do they have. You've got their interest. They wouldn't be sitting in the appointment with you if they weren't having some interest. So ask them straight out, how much too much is that? You'll be surprised. So many times when I've asked that question, someone comes back with something that I could work with. And I go, okay, well, what if we changed the payment structure? Or what if we had you make a down payment and then we work to get you a couple of clients and then you can make another payment? You can do that? Of course I can do that. It's my business. I can do whatever I want. Right? Or maybe they come back and their number is very small and I have to say, well, I have a program where you can join as a member and it's not the same as working one-on-one with me, but it will get you started and it falls into your budget that you've identified. And guess what? Again, they're usually happy to do it and you have a sale. Small sale, but it's still a sale and they add up. You see, how much too much is it is brilliant. It works time and time again. And over again, we have our members come back and tell us that they've used that question, how much too much is it? And they've ended up with a great sale. And by the way, when somebody answers that question, go right into selling them whatever that is, like bringing up the link. And when someone says to me that all I have is this, and they're giving you a number, and I'm like, okay, so what if we gave you this and this and this for this? They go, oh, yeah, I like that. Well, now I share the link with them and they go and click the link and I say, you know what, just go ahead and fill that out and I'll wait here in case you have any questions. And then I have the sale. Oh, at that point, be quiet. Stop talking. Okay? Because if you give someone a link or they've said that they're interested in buying and they're starting to, make that buying purchase decision, let them think and let them fill out the form. And that's how you get the sale. By the way, in person, if I'm talking to somebody, I had someone in my office just last week. We were talking about product or service. She did say that was too much. I said, how much too much is it? She said how much she had. I was like, okay, well, for that, we could do this and this and this. She's like, okay. I pulled out the contract for it. I put it in front of her and I put the pen on the contract. And then I zipped my lip. And she picked up the contract, which is a buying decision. That also means shut up, don't talk. Because she's thinking. She's got to think and she's got to read. And if she has a question or objection, she'll come back and ask. And if she does, then I can talk. But if she hasn't asked me anything, it means she's reading and she's thinking, and I should be quiet so she can continue in her process. So she took it and held it in her hand for a minute and read it a little bit. And then she put it down on the table and she picked up the pen and she started to fill out the contract. And I continued to be quiet until she got down to the bottom and she asked me a question. And I showed her where was the sign and she signed it. And then we were done. Now I had to deliver what she had asked for. Isn't that fun? You see, it's not just talking. It's also being quiet. There are some important pieces to making sales. We talk a lot about this in the Max Plus program, helping our business owners become better salespeople. So I'm going to move on to another subject now because the sales process does need to be scripted. Every part of this needs to be scripted, and the sales presentation needs to be scripted. But I'm going to talk about something else now because some of you send proposals out. You have the sales meeting, and then you say, oh, okay, I'm going to make you a customized proposal, which is a great thing to do. But I'm going to tell you where the big fail is here. We don't send proposals ever. Okay, if you want to fail rapidly in business, that's an excellent process. If you want to make money, you don't send out the proposal. You say, I will create a proposal and we will get together next week on Thursday at 2 to go over the proposal. Did you hear what I said? People usually don't make the decision to purchase on their own. So we don't send them the proposal. If they say, well, I have a business partner who needs to look at it too, great, bring him to the meeting. We'll go over it together. Well, I'd rather just show it to him. That might be true, but I'd rather we got together. Let's get together. Say, what? That's pretty pushy. Well, you know what? It's a complete waste of your time if you don't get together with all the parties that are actually going to be making the decision. It's just a waste of everyone's time because they're not going to represent you well. They don't know your product or service well enough to actually tell their business partner or decision maker about whatever it is that you offer. So you want to create the offer based off of, the discussion that you had. So let's say I sell life insurance and I was speaking to the husband about the needs of the family. And he says, you know what? This is great. I need to run it by my wife who wasn't in the meeting. And I think this happens to life insurance agents a lot. And you say, great, I'll send over the proposal. And then it's crickets. Well, the wife nixed the deal. And it wasn't because she didn't think life insurance was important. It's because she didn't hear all of the things that you had to share with him. So what you need to do is say, you know what? That's a great idea. I would love to meet your wife. Oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to it. You know what? What's a good day where we could actually get together with you and her next week? Oh, this day, great. All right, I'm going to bring the proposals with me that date, and we're going to sit down with the two of you, and I can't wait to meet her. Who could refuse you with an offer like that, right? So whether it's a business partner that isn't on this decision, if it's a committee, if it's like they got to bring it to their directors, you say, great, when's the directors meeting? I'd love to be there to present this to them. If they absolutely refuse, offer to make a short video. That would be the next best step, okay? But I would try everything I could to be in that director's meeting, because it's a waste of time. If you've pitched it to one person and now you're going to get them to try to pitch your stuff for you, they don't know your stuff. They don't know you. They won't be able to answer questions that come up. And you can send them all the pamphlets and stuff in the world. They generally won't even pass them around. So I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend either being at the director's meeting, or worst case scenario is at least send like a Loom video or something that explains what the process is and whatever your proposal is. Okay. That's just way more effective. I like Loom over sending a Zoom video or something like that. And the reason is because if they share this with the group, it actually sends data back to me telling me that it was opened and how many times and who clicked on what, and if there was a link in it, if it got clicked, all of that. And I can even see it happening live in time if I have a Loom account. So I'd highly recommend that tool in that part of the sales process. But did you see how it's also scripted? The whole thing is scripted. When you go to the proposal part, you're going to have your proposal ready. What are you going to talk about at the beginning of the meeting? How are you going to present your proposal should be scripted. And then how do you ask for the sale? Professional salespeople ask for the sale. Not once, not twice, at least 3 times in one way or another. But not in a rude way. Not like, are you going to buy from me? Are you going to buy from me? Buy from me now. Okay, that's just rude. No, professional salespeople lay out the program, how it's going to solve their problems, and how you can get started right away. Would you like to do that in 1 payment or 2? Oh, I can make 2 payments? Well, let's do that. You see? Or if they go, oh, I don't know if we can do 2 payments. Oh, well, how many payments would you need? See, that's very similar to how much too much is it? How many payments would you need? Oh, I think we'd need 3. 4 would be even better. Could we do it over 4 months? Absolutely, we can do it over 4 months, especially if it's a big ticket item, right? So asking these questions and being ready with questions is an excellent part of the sales process that you can script and be in control of all the way through. It's amazing. You can't control people answer you, but you can certainly control the questions that you ask. And you can be ready as well with answers to objections. They shouldn't knock you over sideways. I mean, people always have the same objections, don't they? Don't they come back and say, it's too much money, or I don't have the time, or I have to involve my partner, or whatever it is, right? So you need to work out how to answer those objections and calm whatever it is that's going on inside of them. So you have a scripted answer for the objection, and it should end with a question leading back, asking them something, because that also now puts you back in control of the interview. All right, which means that now, after you've alleviated whatever stress they had over the objection, you might be able to continue on and lead them back into the sales process. Make sense? All right. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, so I'll just keep on going here. All right, so we've talked about scripting your infomercial, scripting your one-on-one, and what the expectations of a one-on-one should be. We've talked about scripting your sales presentation, and we've talked about scripting the time of making a proposal. Now, they may say yes, they may say no. There needs to be a follow-up, whether they say yes or no. And yes, the follow-up should be scripted, just like everything else. What is the follow-up procedure? How many days do you wait before you send an email? If they said yes, they're going to buy, and they didn't buy, what kind of an email should you send? CIBN Connect in our actually in our YouTube video list at CIBN TV on YouTube, we have a video in there where myself and Evelyn Gwynn were talking about the 9-word email. It's perfect to send to somebody who said yes, but they're now ghosting you. You're going to want to watch that video. It's great. You can make that part of the sales process, a scripted part, a 9-word email that just simply asks the question that they really feel like they must answer. Okay? That's a great way of moving that forward. Okay? That's something that you can do as part of your sales process. But again, it's all scripted. It's all made out. It's like, this is what I do when this happens. Another thing is, don't take it personally when people ghost you. You know what? This is just so funny. I mean, someone ghosts you. They said yes, but now they're not answering you back. And we take it personally. We're like, they don't like us. Something must have happened. Maybe they went out gambling and lost their money. Maybe they were, they were picked up by aliens. I always say, in the absence of real information, I like to make crap up because we don't know if they ghosted us. We don't know why they ghosted us, right? We don't know what's going on there. We have no idea. So in the absence of real information, we tend to make stuff up. And I would encourage you to not make stuff up. Just set your process. Okay. When I get ghosted, this is what I do next. And I don't take it personally. I don't have an emotional breakdown over it. Okay. I don't know. If they haven't told me why they're not answering my messages, I honestly don't know the answer to why. I have no idea. And anything that I would be coming up with would be something I made up because they didn't tell me anything. So I have no real information. I mean, I could stalk them on Facebook to see if there's been a crisis in their family, but I really don't have time for that. Okay. And you shouldn't be doing it either. Just create the process. If they don't answer back, what's the next thing that you do? Well, the next thing would be send a 9-word email after so many days, 4 days, something like that, and try to get them to re-engage in the process. I'll give you an example. CIBN takes sponsors as well. We have sponsors that pay us $10,000 or more, and we advertise them throughout the larger business network. And I actually search through the haystack and find them the needle of the one person they need to meet and do all kinds of cool stuff for our sponsors. And so anyways, recently I've had sponsors that are talking about joining CIBN, and they have a certain product line that is very, very cool. So one of the things that I do in the follow-up process is I look for people that would be an ideal customer for that sponsor. And I let them know that I have that person. So I will send them a message saying, hey, and lately I've had some really fun ones that have really worked out very, very well. So some very high level connections that would be perfect for this potential sponsor. So just letting them know that, so-and-so has already expressed an interest. They want to meet with you. They're just waiting for you to become a sponsor so that because they're a sponsor and they want to do business with the sponsors. So you know what? It's time to get started, guys, because I've got the ideal client lined up for you. Make sense? Yeah. And so sometimes I'm just letting them know something like that. And that is often the thing that can move the needle forward a little bit. And they go, oh, yeah, okay, I'm ready. I want to do that because I want to get contacted with that person. I want to get the sales that I need for my business too. So you see, it's all part of the process. What is your process? It's important that you have one. In the Max Plus program, we cover all of that and more. Even things like how to create a webinar that produces sales. Even things like how to do a 5-day challenge that produces sales. We also talk about things that maybe you shouldn't be doing right now. I think there's just as much importance in that because so many of us are running around from class to class, course to course, taking up the most productive time of our day that could be spent on selling and wasting it working on our social media marketing because it makes us feel good or feeling like we're getting something done. If we're not making sales, we're not getting the right things done, and our business is going to suffer. So the prime time of our day needs to be focused. And that's the time that our customers want to meet with us. It's what's good for them. It's not good for it's not necessarily what's good for me. So in my world, I work with a lot of businesses. So I'm a B2B type of business owner. And my business owners want to meet with me between 10:30 in the morning to about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That's prime sales time on my weekdays. You'll notice if you're watching this regularly, you'll notice I often do this on a Saturday where I go live. Why? Because it would suck up my prime sales time if I was doing it during the week, and that's bad for business. So I look for times outside of that where I can do some of the marketing things, and you should too. And we can also use some help of virtual assistants and things like that to get more done, but that's a topic for another day. All right, there's a link for you below if you're interested in the Max Plus program. If you want to reach out and talk about consultation or anything that you might need for your business, by all means, do that. My email address is kgeorge@cibnconnect.com. I'm going to just grab a couple of links here and share them with you. That's my email. So if you want to reach out to me, that's where you would find it. And also on our CIBN channel, you can find all of our events and stuff at the cibn.com/events. And I think right in the feed underneath the video, there is a link that leads you directly to the Max Plus program. And it's not $10,000. Okay, it's $177 a month USD. Is that a lot? Well, for some people it seems to be, but if it is a lot for you, then you need it more than anyone. Okay, because not having enough money shouldn't be why you continue to not have enough money. Hello? You need to make some investments in yourself if that's the problem. So start with $177 a month and start getting some sales, because it's sales that make the difference in your bottom line, in your revenue stream. You can't have profits without sales. You can't continue to operate a business without sales. Sales are the lifeblood of your business. Everything that you do needs to focus on that. And if you do that, you're going to have a successful business and you're going to be able to duplicate it and scale it. All right, I hope that helps you today. Happy capitalism. Hope to see you in the Max Plus program.